today we're going to talk about ratios and proportions. Alright, and this will be our 2H lesson. It corresponds with the textbook, section 6.1. If you notice your notes look a little bit different, I want you to actually write the WISC on the notes. Remember, this is when and where. Did you watch the video? S stands for the summary of what you watched, with details, be specific, and Q stands for question, any question that you have, you think somebody else might have in the class, or a question that could be on a test or quiz. Alright, so notice this is also new. These are video problems. These are problems that you will only see in the video, not in the notes. Please write your work and your answers here so we could go over it first thing in class. Okay, so we're going to start learning about similar figures, not congruent figures. This will be similar, and you already know a little bit about it. But before we go into that, we're going to have to talk about ratios and proportions. So a ratio is just a comparison between two quantities. They have to be in the same units. Alright, a ratio can be expressed in three ways. You can write out the words A to B. You can write the two dots there, which would be A to B, or you could write it as a fraction, A to B. So we could talk about the ratio of girls to boys in our class. Alright, it would be like 3 to 4, or 4 to 3, whatever it happened to be. We'll look at a few examples of this. Alright, here's your first example, which you can write right on your notes. Simplify this ratio, 16 meters to 40 meters. Alright, so notice I put my units here. If we simplify this, we can notice that 8 goes into both of those numbers, so we can divide them by 8. We could also cancel out the meters. Alright, so 2 meters when we divide by 8 over 5 meters, meters over meters cancels out, and we get the simplified ratio of 2/5, okay, or 2 to 5, or we could also write it 2 to 5. Either way, they're all equivalent. Our next example, simplify this ratio. The length of a rectangle is 9 inches. The width of a rectangle is 2 feet. Write the ratio of the rectangle's width to the length. So, width to the length. Notice I put the width on top. Currently, we do not have the same units. Feet and inches aren't the same. So we either have to convert this to feet or convert this to inches. So remember that 2 feet, we can convert that to inches by multiplying by the secret identity of 1. And we know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So we can convert this by changing this by multiplying by the secret form of 1. Alright, 2 feet times 12 inches over 1 foot. That cancels out the feet, and that'll give us inches, which was what we want. So we get 24 inches over 9 inches, which we can then simplify, dividing both by 3. 8 inches over 3 inches. Okay, the inches cancel out, and we get 8 to 3. And again, the other equivalent forms would be to write, I don't know what that is, alright. We could write 8 to 3, or we could write 8 to 3. Right, well, that should be a 3. Okay, so either way, similar ideas here. So now I'd like to move on. These are our first 3 video problems. It might be a good idea to pause the video right now, complete the problems, and write your answer. Be sure to show any work that you have. So go ahead and pause it, complete the problems, and move on. Continuing, we have another vocabulary word, proportion. It's a statement that shows that 2 ratios are equal. So we would see, some kind of ratio here and some kind of ratio here. If we put that equal sign, it turns into a proportion. To solve a proportion, you can use the cross product property. Alright, that's where we can multiply A times D, and it equals, only if there's an equals here, B times C. So let's look at a few examples. Alright, example 3, to solve for Y, you can use the cross products property. Alright, so we're going to multiply 3 times 12 and set it equal to 4 times Y. 3 times 12 is 36, okay, equals 4Y. In order to solve this, we would just have to divide by 4, so we get Y is 9. We could plug that in at this point and check and make sure that they're the same. Alright, so we have 3 over 4 equals 9 over 12. So you can reduce this to see if it's the same. Another way is to cross multiply, so we get 3 times 12, 36, equals 4 times 9, 36. Since they are equal, we know that this is correct. Next example here, alright, same thing. Use the cross products property. So we're going to do 8 times y plus 2 in parentheses equals 12 times y. Cross products, okay. The next step here would be to distribute. So we get 8y plus 16 equals 12y. Notice we have y's on either side, so we're going to subtract 8y from both sides. And we end up with 16 equals 4y. Last step, divide by 4, and we get y equals 4. Again, we should plug that in just to make sure. Alright, 12 over 4 plus 2 is 6. So we could reduce these and see immediately that we get 2 over 1, or we could use the cross products property to multiply. 8 times 6 is 48. 4 times 12 is 48. Both sides are equal, so we know our answer is correct. Alright, here's our last example. Solve for y. So again, you want to put anything with more than one term in parentheses. So we're going to do 4 times 4y plus 2 equals 10 times y plus 5. Alright, and I think it might be a little more organized right here. Alright, multiply that out. Use the distributive property. Get like terms to one side. Okay, I moved the 10 over here. I moved the 8 over here. Simplify, and you should get 7. Alright, and then we should always just plug that back in. 7 plus 5 is 12. 10 over, okay, this is 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. If we cross multiply here, 4 times 30 is 120. 12 times 10 is 120, so we know that our answer is correct. The last part of today includes 3 more video problems. Please pause the video, take the time to solve. Don't forget to write your answers and your work and have them ready at the beginning of class, and also don't forget to finish your whisk. See you tomorrow.